North Sentinel Island, located in the Andaman Archipelago in the Bay of Bengal. This remote landmass is home to the Sentinelese people. They are one of the world's last uncontacted tribes, having lived in voluntary isolation for thousands of years. The Indian government strictly prohibits anyone from approaching within 5 nautical miles of the shore to protect the islanders from modern diseases to which they have no immunity. The inhabitants have also repeatedly demonstrated a fierce desire to remain undisturbed, often responding to passing boats or aircraft with bows and arrows. The legal exclusion zone ensures the island remains a completely isolated time capsule, untouched by modern civilization. Ilha da Queimada Grande, often referred to as Snake Island, this small rocky outcrop sits roughly 90 miles off the coast of São Paulo, Brazil. It earned its fearsome reputation because it is the only place on Earth where the critically endangered golden lancehead pit viper lives. Rising sea levels trapped the snakes here thousands of years ago, forcing them to adapt by hunting migratory birds. Their venom evolved to be incredibly potent, capable of melting human tissue. Due to the sheer density of these deadly reptiles, the Brazilian government has made it illegal for anyone to visit, with rare exceptions granted only to carefully vetted research scientists. Surtsey. This volcanic island emerged from the North Atlantic Ocean near Iceland, following a massive underwater eruption in the early 1960s. As a brand new piece of land, it offered the scientific community a totally unprecedented opportunity to observe how life colonizes a barren environment. To ensure the natural ecological process is not contaminated by human interference, the Icelandic authorities heavily restrict access. Only a small number of botanists, biologists, and geologists are permitted to step foot on the volcanic rock. Before arriving, these researchers must undergo rigorous checks to ensure they are not accidentally carrying seeds, spores, or insects that could alter the delicate, developing ecosystem. Poveglia. Situated in the Venetian lagoon in northern Italy, this small landmass harbors a remarkably dark history. During the bubonic plague outbreaks that ravaged Europe centuries ago, it was used as a quarantine station, where the sick and dying were exiled to keep the infection away from the main city. Later, in the 20th century, it served as a psychiatric hospital that was eventually shuttered. The grim legacy of disease and abandonment left the soil, reportedly composed largely of human ash, and the crumbling buildings remain completely off-limits to the public. Today, the local government strictly forbids unauthorized entry, leaving the island to decay silently, just a short distance from the bustling canals of Venice. Gruinard Island. Nestled in a quiet bay off the northwest coast of Scotland, this tranquil-looking patch of land became a biological testing ground during the Second World War. The British government requisitioned the area to experiment with anthrax, a highly lethal bacterial spore, in an effort to develop biological weapons. The tests were successful, but they left the soil heavily contaminated and completely uninhabitable. For nearly 50 years, the island remained under strict quarantine, marked by warning signs prohibiting any public access. Although a massive decontamination effort in the 1980s officially declared the area safe, it largely remains a desolate place, forever shadowed by its legacy as an experimental biohazard zone. Niihau. Known as the Forbidden Isle of Hawaii, this westernmost main island in the Hawaiian archipelago has been privately owned by a single family since 1864. The original owners made a commitment to a Hawaiian king to protect the island from outside influences and preserve the native culture. Today, it remains a closed society where the traditional Hawaiian language is spoken daily, and modern conveniences like paved roads and indoor plumbing are virtually non-existent. Unless you are an invited guest of the owners or part of a small community of native residents, you are not allowed to step ashore, making it a closely guarded bastion of traditional island life. Heard Island. Located deep in the furious 50s of the Southern Ocean, this desolate Australian territory is dominated by an active volcano known as Big Ben. The environment here is incredibly harsh, battered by freezing temperatures, gale force winds, and massive ocean swells. Despite the punishing climate, it is a vital refuge for seals, penguins, and various seabirds. Because it is one of the most pristine and unpolluted ecosystems left on the planet, the Australian government heavily regulates who can visit. Entry is generally restricted to scientific expeditions, and the sheer logistical difficulty of reaching this icy outpost ensures it remains isolated from human development. Diego Garcia. This tropical footprint in the central Indian Ocean is part of the Chagos archipelago and functions as a highly strategic military outpost. In the late 1960s and early 70s, the British government forcibly relocated the native Chagosian population to make way for a joint military base operated with the United States. Today, the entire atoll is a heavily guarded military zone. There are no commercial flights, no tourist ferries, and absolutely no public access allowed. Only military personnel, authorized contractors, and specific government officials are permitted on the territory, turning what looks like a classic island paradise into a secretive hub for international defense operations. Morgan Island, tucked away in the marshlands of South Carolina, is exclusively inhabited by a massive colony of free-roaming rhesus macaque monkeys. The monkeys were relocated here in the 1970s from a research center in Puerto Rico after an outbreak of a localized virus threatened the local human population. The island provided a secluded, natural habitat where the primates could thrive while remaining isolated from the public. Today, the land is owned and managed by the state, and federal law strictly prohibits anyone from approaching the shores to protect both the health of the monkey colony and the safety of curious boaters.